During the last lecture, we have seen the introduction of the ecosystem and energy flow. And now we are going to see the function of an ecosystem. We have seen the structure of ecosystem, different types, different view of the structures of the ecosystem. Now functional, there are four components which is important for the function of an ecosystem. We have already seen the introduction of that four components: productivity, decomposition, then energy flow and nutrient cycle. From that, first we will see the productivity. Productivity, it is nothing but the amount of organic matter synthesized by an trophic level. It is called as productivity. That means trophic level means what? There are some of the organisms which are come under a same phase. For example, plants. All plants are nothing but the producers. They produce their own food material by using the sunlight, water. Okay, so they are called as the producers. This is one of the trophic level. Then on that plants there are some of the animals which are feeding. So these are called as consumers. So it is another type of trophic level. So the amount of organic matter synthesized by an one trophic level, it is called as productivity. Okay, now that productivity, it is of two types. It may be primary productivity or it may be secondary productivity. So what is the meaning of primary productivity and what is the meaning of secondary productivity? Primary productivity, the amount of organic matter synthesized by the producers, it is called as primary productivity. Okay, whatever the organic matter produced by the producers, that is nothing but the producers are plants. All the plants are producers. The amount of organic matter produced by the producers or plants, it is called as primary productivity. That means by using the sunlight, water, whatever the organic matter produced by the plants, it is called as the primary productivity. Now what is the meaning of secondary productivity? Secondary productivity is nothing but the amount of organic matter synthesized by the consumers. Now coming to the consumers. After the plants, there are some animals which feeds on the plants. So whatever the organic matter, when they are feeding on the plants, then after the feeding they prepare their own organic matter. So it is called as secondary productivity. The productivity formed by the primary producers or producers, it is called as secondary productivity. So primary productivity and secondary productivity, it is calculated by some formula. Okay, primary productivity is also calculated and secondary productivity is also calculated. So there are some formulas to calculate such primary and secondary productivity. So there are two concepts, gross and net productivity. Gross productivity is what? The total amount of energy or organic matter produced. Okay, so in case of primary productivity, so gross productivity is called as gross primary productivity, or it is called as GPP, gross primary productivity. That is nothing but the total amount of organic matter produced by the producer. It is called as gross primary productivity. Okay, then in the secondary productivity, the all amount of the organic matter produced, it is called as gross secondary productivity. So it is called as GSP, gross secondary productivity. Now it is a total amount of energy or total amount of organic matter. But during the phase of life and during the any of the reactions or functions, there are some expenditure from that energy or from that organic matter. So whatever the plants, whatever the producers are there, whatever the consumers are there, when they are locomoting, when they are respiring. So in case of producer cannot locomote, plants cannot locomote. So whatever the energy expenditure is there, it is in the form of respiration. In the respiration there is a loss of energy, that is expenditure of energy takes place. So in case of animals, that is in case of consumers also, there are some expenditure of energy takes place. In case of animals, there is a locomotion, there is a digestion, there is a respiration, there is a circulation, different types of system, and all that system requires energy. So there is a lot of expenditure takes place in the consumers. So after the expenditure, whatever the remaining energy is there, it is called as net productivity. Net productivity means total amount of energy or total amount of organic matter minus expenditure, means how many energy is expenditure from the entire amount of energy, and whatever the remaining after the expenditure, it is called as the net productivity. So in case of primary productivity, there is a net primary productivity, NPP, and in case of secondary productivity, there is a net secondary productivity, NSP. So what is net primary productivity? Net primary productivity, it is equal to the gross primary productivity minus respiration in case of primary productivity. In case of secondary productivity, net secondary productivity is equal to gross secondary productivity minus whatever the expenditure, that is E. It is the productivity. Now we have seen in the productivity the amount of organometric produced by the trophic level, it is called as productivity. Then in that primary and secondary productivity is there. The organic matter produced by producers called as primary productivity, and by consumers is called as secondary productivity. We have seen the we have already seen the gross primary productivity and net primary productivity, gross secondary productivity and net secondary productivity. Gross means total energy, net means whatever the remaining energy is there. By that way productivity is there, and productivity gives us input to the ecosystem. So this is about the productivity. Now coming to the second component of an ecosystem, it is called as decomposition. Decomposition, it is a very important phenomena among all the functions. It is very much important. Decomposition, it is nothing but the breakdown of dead organic matter into the smaller inorganic substances by the decomposers. That means decomposers, there are some of the organisms called as decomposers. They are breakdowning the dead organic matter into the small pieces called as inorganic substances. This is called as decomposition. So for example, we are taking the example after the processes. So decomposition is a broad phenomena. It has some of the steps, it has some of the processes. Okay, we are going to see that processes in deep. So there are mainly three processes: fragmentation, humification and mineralization. So we are going to see one by one. First we will take the fragmentation. Fragmentation means the larger size of dead organic matter, it is break down into the smaller pieces. It is called as detritus material. It is called as fragmentation. Okay, we are comparing with the example, okay, after the explanation. So fragmentation, it is nothing but the breakdown of larger pieces into the smaller detritus material. It is called as fragmentation. After the fragmentation, there is a second process called as humification. Humification, it is nothing but the conversion of detritus material into the humus. Now what is the humus? humus, it is nothing but the dark colored colloidal substance. Okay, and humus, it is very important. It has some characteristic feature because the decomposition of the human takes place at the slower rate. Okay, and because of that slower rate, the plants get benefit by that, because whatever the organic matter present inside that humus, it is absorbed by the plants during that time. So that time it is very big, the period of humus is very big, that somehow the plants get benefited by the humus, and there are some nutrients. So humus formation takes place in the humification process, where the detritus material is converted, it is break down again and again to form a humus. It is a dark colored colloidal substances which is having more and more nutrient material which is get absorbed by the plants and other producers. Okay, this is called as humification, second part. After the humification, there is a last step called as the mineralization, which is very important step in case of decomposition. Mineralization means there is a conversion of humus into the minerals. Okay, whatever the humans are there, and this process is very slow. From humus to the minerals, this process is very slow. Okay, that humus, it is again break down, it is getting solved simple, from complex it is getting simple and inorganic substances like that of the minerals, and that minerals are now available for the plants to absorb. So from the fragmentation till the mineralization, whatever the process is called, process is there, it is called as the decomposition, and that is very important for the nature, ecosystem, and especially to the plants. So these three processes, is it only possible to complete the decomposition within that three processes? There are some of the components which is related with that, and that's how decomposition takes place. In that, again, two of the main concepts are there which is takes place in the decomposition. First one, it is nothing but the catabolism. Catabolism means generally the breakdown processes. Here all are the breakdown processes. From the fragmentation to humus, it is a breakdown, it is called as catabolism. From the humus mineralization, it is a breakdown, it is called as catabolism. So catabolism is the main basic process in case of decomposition. After that, second concept is nothing but the second concept in case of decomposition, it is nothing but the leaching. Now leaching means what? Whatever the minerals are produced in the decomposition, finally that minerals are going into the soil material, and when there is a rain, okay, by that pressure, that minerals are going deeper and deeper into the soil, and after some time that minerals are going to make the precipitation. Okay, and when the mineral precipitation takes place under the soil, then after some time it becomes solid. Precipitation means it becomes solid, and it is harmful to the plants, because plants get the nutrients when it is in the some moisture and in some aquatic or liquid form. When it gets solidified, it is unable to use for the plants, because they cannot absorb the solid material, they can absorb the material by the watery medium. So when the precipitation or resulting into the leaching takes place, the leaching is harmful to the plant. There is for example salt. Whenever the soil is covered by the salt material, it is not comfortable or not useful for the crop or farming. So solidification of minerals is called as the leaching process, and that processes are very much harmful to the plantations, trees, and the farming. So In case of decomposition, there are mainly three parts: fragmentation, humification, and the mineralization. It is takes place by the two of the major components called as catabolism, the process, and called as leaching. Leaching is harmful to the plants and the entire ecosystem. That's how the decomposition takes place. Now we are taking one example, okay, here, so you can understand the decomposition in natural way. There are trees called as producers. They are having leaves on their branches. After some time, there is a falling of that leaves onto the land. Okay, and after some time, it gets decomposed. How the process takes place? It is called as decomposition. There are the leaves, fresh leaves are there which is fallen on the land, and after few days you cannot see the leaves on the land. How it is possible? It is possible because of the decomposition. Okay, microbes play important role in the decomposition. When trees fallen, okay, it is called as large dead organic matter. From trees, it will form a detritus material by using the process fragmentation. So large leaves are cut down, break down into the smaller pieces called as detritus material by some of the microbes or some small insects. Then this detritus material, it is again break down and converted into the humus. There is a moisture condition, dark colored, chocolatey colored material which is colloidal substance. This is called as humus. It is having most of the nutrients under it, and that humus will give them lot of nutrients to the plants. After some days, that humus, it is converted into the small particles, very like that of the soil. Okay, and it will form a minerals called as the mineralization process. And in that you cannot see the leaves, fresh leaves there. There is only soil material. In that minerals are present, and that minerals are, when there is a rain, that minerals are going inside the soil deeper and deeper, and it will form a precipitation and form a leaching. At some places you can see the salty area on the soil. It is called as leaching, and it is very harmful to the crop plants also. So minerals, whatever the minerals are there, it is when the watery medium is there, it is absorbed by the plants, and it is very much important. So this is the second component of the ecosystem. In the next lecture, we will see the third part of or the third component of the ecosystem. It is nothing but the energy flow.